Hi, good morning, and welcome back to our lesson. The topic that we will be discussing today is a world of regions. Right, so a world of regions, meaning our world is being divided. Okay. This is actually because the process of globalization is uneven, meaning dili siya pantay. It follows that there is an imbalance in the socio-economic and political categories of the world. So socio-political meaning socio-political categories of the world, meaning your political power, your economic and social situation. So naa siya imbalance, dili siya balanse. Right? Kay kung balanse pa, dapat pare-pareho ta og status, no? Pare-pareho tag level sa laing countries. But globalization is uneven. It's not balanced. The world is divided into north and south, the global north, the global south, the first world, the second world countries, and the third world countries, the core countries, semi-periphery, and periphery countries. Okay, so makita nato ni siya the difference in the division. For example, ang mga OFWs that work in Europe, Australia, and America, since high-paying man ang kani nga mga country, Europe, Australia, and America, since high-paying sila, these Filipinos who work in those countries, they tend to spend more. Okay, some of them, when they go home to the Philippines, they are like one-day millionaire, giving out presents to their family, relatives, neighbors, and friends, because they have a high-paying job. Although wala kay balog or in different level, domestic helper man na, caregiver man na, or skilled worker or professional, they have high-paying job, and when they go home, they tend to spend more. Okay, although their income are relatively higher than if they work here in the Philippines, they still realize that life is still tough despite the remittances that they send. So daghan mong makita no nga mga abroad, pero nganong usually yung ana man situation nga abroad man tana sila, pero daghan mo sila gipadalhan. So yan na siya. And also they cannot escape the reality that kanang bisan pagdako sila kita, once they go back to the Philippines, short lang ang ilang pagbalik, because they have to go back, no? They have to go back to make a living in another country, because here in the Philippines they will not earn as much as they are earning from other countries. So this is a reflection of the global divide between the North and the South as experienced by the OFWs. So nganong mag-OFW man ta, nganong dili naman lang ta diri magtrabaho sa Pilipinas. And that is because there's a big difference. Okay? There's a big difference sa naa sa global North nagtrabaho and diri sa Pilipinas. Right? So let's go ahead and discuss the objective. Our objectives for this lesson is first is we should be able to explain the term global south and global north, and explain why there is a need to form regional organizations, and also discuss the challenges of regionalization. So let's begin with the global divides. Historically, there had been divisions and labeling among the different nations of the world. Okay, so countries that were colonized by the Spaniards in the southern part of the American continent are collectively called Latin America. Okay, so katong mga na-colonize sa mga Spaniards in the southern part, they are called Latin America. And by virtue of the Treaty of Tordesillas in 1994, the newly discovered lands outside Europe, so katong in the age of exploration, pagtuon nila sila lang, pag-explore nila, uy, napaday mga countries outside Europe, then they were divided into two. I-divide nila, the west part will belong to the Crown of Castile, now part of Spain, and the east belonging to the Portuguese Empire, right? So that's another division, or a division based on colonization. There's also a division before that is based on labor. Katong gitawag nga core countries, semi-periphery countries, and periphery countries. Right? Pag may tag core countries, these countries can provide, they are industrialized, highly industrialized countries. Right? Pag may tag semi-periphery, they are a combination of industrialized and still the old or the traditional way. Okay? And when we say periphery, periphery is very traditional. Now, they are not industrialized, low income level, low wage level, high population or increase in population. So, manay periphery. Semi-periphery, it's like in the middle, and then the core countries. Mana siya. And then, let's understand what's Global South is. Global South ba is meaning naa ka sa South? It's not. The Global South actually refers to a socio-economic and political divide. No? It's a metaphor of interstate inequality and a product of Western imagination. This focused on the Southern Hemisphere on the 1569 designed Mercatorian map, which includes the Africa, Latin America, and the Middle East. So, muna gitawag nga Global South. This is not because naa sila sa South, but because of their socio-economic and political status. And then, the Global North. Global North is the home of members of the Group of 8. Okay, sa una, group of 7 lang na sila. Tapos na, dagganangan. Tapos, karon na nagani group of 20. Okay, so, kanang mga group of 8, mo ni sila ang Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, Russia, and the United States. So, kini sila ang magitawag nga Global North, and matawag po nato sila nga core countries because they are highly industrialized. Right? So, there, we have already discovered the Global North and the Global South. These are not geographical division, but these are socio-economic divisions. Now, why do we form regional associations? Nga naman, why do we have to form? Okay, so, first is for military defense. Okay, military defense, the most widely known defense grouping is NATO, or North Atlantic Treaty Organization, formed during the Cold War when several Western European countries plus the United States agreed, they had an agreement to protect Europe against the threat of the Soviet Union. So katong USSR sa una mo na nabuo ang NATO because pangtapat siya sa USSR. Sa Cold War manggo, dili siya kanang war gid nga there's combat, no? The Cold War is actually a show of force between the West and the USSR. So ang USSR na sila very big military force. So, para matapatan po na siya sa Europe, kaya nanganganib man sila nga ma-overrun sa USSR, para matapatan niya, it formed an alliance with the US. And then they formed NATO. So, mao na siya. nag-form siya military defense. And then another is pooling of resources. So kung like for example, Europe, they cannot handle USSR because they lack resources. So therefore, by having an agreement with US, nadugangan ang ilang resources, either economic resources and also military resources kay para matapatan nila ang USSR. And then another one is to protect independence from the pressures of superpower politics and then economic crisis. So ang pinaka-example sa economic crisis was actually that happened in Asia, no? Mo na pagka-form or pagtawag na pag-strengthen sa ASEAN. Okay, so because of economic crisis in Asia in 1996, na strengthen ang ASEAN because we have what happened in 1996 is that na-devaluate ang kwarta sa Asia, meaning na-devaluate siya, niubos ang iyang value, and then the foreign investors went out, no, ni-withdraw sila. So na economic crisis. So that makabangon ang, especially ang unang na-hit na is the Thailand. No, ang unang na-hit. Para makabangon is that we form associations to face economic crisis. Ang OPEC pod is also an example to all these factors, the military defense, protect independence, pooling of resources, economic crisis. OPEC pod was formed. OPEC means Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries nga na-establish atong 1960s. Ang member ani is ang original member are Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. So these countries regulate prices sa oil ay para sila para ma-protect ang ilang kaugalingon nga dili sobrang baba ang presyo, dili pud sobrang taas. Another example is the non-aligned movement or NAM nga gibuo sa President of Egypt, Ghana, India, Indonesia, and Yugoslavia. So ni-create sila ani in 1961 to pursue world peace, international cooperation, human rights, national sovereignty, racial and national equality, non-intervention, and peaceful conflict resolution. Okay, so gitawag siyang non-aligned because wala siya ni-align either sa first world countries, wala po siya ni-align sa mga first world countries which are capitalist, mga kapitalista ang first world countries, and then the western or the Eastern Europe nga mga communist. So non-aligned siya, wala siya gilinyahan ato kapitalista or communist countries. Mo na siya reason nga nang magbuo og regional associations. And then lastly are the challenges to regionalization, or regionalism. So in every organization naamang yun na siya conflicts, na ay disagreements, which is actually normal. So the challenges today, the regionalism faces multiple challenges, the most serious of which is the resurgence of militant nationalism and populism. And also the refusal of the dismantle of NATO, because NATO, if you can remember, it was formed to counter saan na siya, para tapatan ang USSR. But USSR was already dismantled. Wala na ang USSR. So nganong dili man i-dismantle pod ang NATO, because NATO as of now is still kanang buo paghihapon siya, which is led by the United States. So there are actually militant call, kanang mga protesta, especially headed by Vladimir Putin ng Russia, because of to dismantle NATO. Another challenge is kanang nahitabo karon sa China's occupation of the West Philippine Sea. So naay mga disputed territory nga gi-occupy, actually gi-develop na sa China, and then the Philippines nag-claim, and then other countries, so Taiwan also claimed it, Japan. So naa siya mga hingana nga usahay kanang dili ma-resolve from like China and Philippines. So nangita og gipasa ang issue to the international court, which is unidaog ta. However, dili gihapon because China has strong regional footing compared to the Philippines. So naay mga ingana ang mga challenges in regionalism, although we are in the same geographical location, but we have different associations, we have different what you call that, organizations that we belong. So these challenges are actually emerging, no, daghan na kaayo mga challenges ning ani, right? So for more questions, for more on this, I will add another video to explain more on the division, the global south, the global north, and the periphery, and core, periphery, and semi-periphery countries. So thank you so much, and for more questions, you know how to find me.